Our first topic is TikTok killed the luxury star. Now, of course, everybody knows we're in the midst of this tariff war with China, but there was a window of time when TikTok was banned. It was like a week, or maybe it was just a couple of hours, right as right after Trump won the presidency. And in that time, a lot of TikTok users were searching around for a TikTok replacement, and they were going to Red Note and these different platforms from China. But once TikTok came back, it meant that there were a lot of people who had connected with Chinese creators. And now in the midst of this tariff war, it's really been fascinating. And if you're not on TikTok, I will just tell you that it is salty over there, because what's happened is that Chinese manufacturers have sort of turned the tables. They are exposing all of the manufacture of high-end luxury goods. So you have, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, all of these luxury goods that are being created in China. They're being basically completely created in China and then shipped to Italy or France just for the label and the packaging.
Yep.
And so basically they're revealing that if you think of China and you think of shoddy, plastic, breakable, Temu, they want you to know that you were spending $38,000 for a Birkin bag that cost them, $100 to make, and you can just buy direct from them. And even with the extraordinary tariffs being put on merchandise from China, you will still walk away with a $500 to $1,000 bag instead of a $38,000 bag, possibly with better materials and better production.
I just want to say that $38,000 bag is like just a wild.
Well, that's true. Yes,
$1,000 bag is like a wild and crazy thing, but the videos are awesome.
They are, because they're not just talking about manufacturing. They're sort of like, hey, listen, don't be mad at us that your companies shipped labor where it was cheaper, and we invested in infrastructure and improving, our lives, and they invested in yachts. So it's really become this fascinating place. One creator said, boy, they should have banned TikTok when they had the chance, because this kind of person-to-person communication is about to upend the entire luxury market. And, I'm not somebody who's in the market for a $38,000 purse or a $500 t-shirt, but they're actually taking you into the factories where they're being made. They're showing you the hand stitching. They're showing you all of the people that work on it. And they're saying, hey, by the way, you can just buy it direct from the warehouse, save this money. And so tariffs have become, in a backhanded way, a way that's liberating the Chinese manufacturers from the luxury branding. And it's just producing some funny content too.
Yeah, I saw some content where basically they were having JD Vance run a sewing machine, like rather ineffectively, as you might imagine. JD Vance might be at a sewing machine or anything of any practical use. And so I thought that was also pretty amazing. And also just this idea, like I like the dance videos, even aside from the whole exposure of the luxury trade and how much people are being gouged for these products that are being made well but inexpensively in China. I don't know, Nadine, what are there any other of the videos that were the most interesting to you, or that you found the most revealing, the most shocking, the most surprising?
Well, seeing inside the luxury factories that are, there are things you don't know you think until you're exposed to something that sort of challenges an unspoken bias. And what was surprising to me was how directly Chinese creators are talking to Americans and saying, you MAGA's lying to you. This is the dangerous situation they've put you in. But they're also doing it with a lot of charm and a lot of humor. And I think one of the things that has come out of the TikTok, the moment when TikTok was down and everybody was searching for an alternative, is that they've come back to a more global TikTok. So your algorithm is now probably going to get you Ireland, probably going to get you China, probably going to get you creators in other parts of the world in a way it didn't before TikTok sort of threatened to go away. And I think that's part of why this sort of free flowing of information is happening in parallel to whatever the government is saying. People are now just talking to each other. And of course, is it how much is propaganda? Well, that's a question all of us have to ask about any of the sources of information we have. But without a doubt, I will tell you that there are people who are already. One woman said, I'm going to China with my daughter. We're bringing a lot of empty suitcases. And when we get back, what we bring back will pay for our trip. And I don't
Wow.
think that they're alone in that.
Well, that reminds me of Levi's to Russia back in the day, people heading over to sell the jeans. But the trade thing, obviously there are complicated things about the trade policies. Just declaring random huge tariffs on everyone other than Russia and North Korea seems like a really stupid policy that certainly crashed Wall Street in a major way. But I was thinking back about this in part because the favorite headline I ever wrote for PR Watch was, "Is your underwear betraying your values?" And it was because Deborah Waller, who runs Jockey International, which operates out of Wisconsin, was at a Tea Party event for the Kochs, basically saying if she ran her business like the government runs its, she'd be in jail or out of business. And then it turned out that, in fact, she'd given like massive retention bonuses to bankers who crashed Wall Street back in 2009. And after promising to keep those jobs in the US for Jockey, which was a product I used to buy, she had shipped those jobs, to the Caribbean and and became richer and richer. So there are, trade policies that need to be improved, but like this random Trump AI generated tariff policies, crazy. And the creative response to it, like you said, with the TikTok videos and more, has just been super powerful.
Well, and definitely people who've never thought about supply chain and never thought about tariffs since they watched that one scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off are now talking about it and talking about how we all fit into that and talking about why are they being manufactured in China? What, so it has become a conversation about the global economy in a kind of unexpected place, where we're used to seeing dancing and, trends take off, but people are having real conversations about what it means. And, I can't help but think that there's what we see of tariffs are on, tariffs are off. I saw today that Apple sent 6 tons of iPhones from China to India to get around the tariffs. So, well, that's 8 minutes, but
Yeah, that was
I'll leave us with this. I wouldn't be surprised if there are behind the scenes shakedowns going on of vendors and manufacturers where they're paying under the table to get their tariffs altered, adjusted, lifted.